Guys, can I say this? I'm so excited right now. And here's the reason why I'm so excited, because if you have ever done any kind of live stream or any type of video, you will know that it is incredibly hard to shoot in with light in the background. Incredibly hard. Songs of charisma. What's up? What's up, sis? Um, you'll know it's very, very hard to do that. Kim Crowder, what's up? Litton Moore, what's up, good people? It's very hard. I've got my lighting set up here, so you could see me, right? Right? Can you see me? I'm sure you can see me. What's up, Deb? So good to see you. And you can see the view. Deb says you can see the view. I'm so happy because I wanted you all to see the view at the same time. So just so you know, what's behind me is, so I'm in London right now. It's 4 p.m. GMT. What's going on, everybody? And Deb says very professional videography. I appreciate that because it took me a second to try to get this. And I realized that the light is definitely impacted by anytime I put something white on the screen. So if you pull up my favorite coffee mug, the light, actually it's staying fine. Look, I can drink. This is great. I could do all of this in front of it. This is great, Nadia. All right. So I'm so happy that everybody's here. I'm so happy that, the stream is not showing on LinkedIn. Guys. It says the stream is not showing on LinkedIn. Let me see what we could do to edit this. Let me see why the stream is not showing. Let me see if there's anything we could do. Because, guys, just so you know, we're streaming on Facebook, we're streaming on YouTube, we're streaming on Periscope, but wow. Okay, here we go. Live on LinkedIn. All right, let me see. Live on LinkedIn. Let's see here. All right, let me see if we're live. All right, so we are live on LinkedIn. All right, guys. Good morning, Nadia. Everybody, Sterling, my sis, what's going on? Everybody, look, I'm saying good morning, Marlene, what's up? So here's what's happening. So, you know, we are streaming, all of us together, one big community. We are streaming on Facebook. We're streaming on Twitter right now. We're on YouTube right now, and we're on LinkedIn. LinkedIn just popped up. But here's the challenge with LinkedIn. So a lot of people asked me on my last stream what platform I'm using. I'm using StreamYard. It's called StreamYard. And I'm very impressed. This is my second session technically my third session using StreamYard. I love so much about StreamYard, especially the production quality, and most importantly, that you could simulcast. So a lot of people also ask, did I pay for StreamYard? Yes, I paid for the premium package. I think it's about $30 to $40 per month for the package. But you get analytics, you get all kinds of, I can control the screen right now, I can pull on anyone. So this is Becca Wells. Good afternoon, right? Becca is on Periscope. I could pull on Sterling. Sterling just said, I just got the alert for LinkedIn. So there's a lot that you could do with StreamYard. And on top of that, you can also bring on multiple guests. So I'm going to have 3 guests with me today. I've been I mentioned about going live last week. I'm going to continue to go live, and I'll bring on lots of guests. I think you could do up to 6 at one time, but you could have 10 guests in the queue. I mean, it's incredible. So Ritza, Delroy, Tunic, Pamela on LinkedIn. I've got you guys right here on LinkedIn. I can't pull in your comments into the live stream on LinkedIn. StreamYard hasn't worked that out yet, but I can at least see you, like Shantae Reese, good morning from San Antonio. Timothy Williams, good afternoon, right? I can see my man, Tim Coates from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on LinkedIn, so I can see everyone. Right now, what's cool is it looks like we're about 500 people live already across all platforms, which is incredible. Now, let's get ready to get down to business. Why are we doing this? What's the whole point of us coming together as this digital village, right? I realized that a lot of us are super scared right now, super scared. And on March 12th, which was my wife's birthday. So shout out to Jill on that. That was my wife's birthday. I'll never forget that because I was freaked out on March 12th with regard to what was happening, with coronavirus. In particular, I was working on 2 television shows. One show, just ended. The other show, there was a pause on that. There were 3 large deals I was working on at the time. All of them hit hold as a result of what they saw coming up with the virus. So I saw it immediately impact me. Then friends and family members started reaching out, telling me how they had lost jobs. I have a lot of friends in Jamaica, which is heavily reliant, a lot of the Caribbean, heavily reliant on tourism. And a lot of them lost jobs. And it felt like panic was setting in on March 12th. In 2 days, by March, I'd say, 2-3 days, by about March 15th, I was really calm. I began to look at the adversity as opportunity, right? I would say by maybe March 16th, March 17th, I became very optimistic about what I'd seen happening around how we're beginning to connect and how this is an incredible opportunity. Yes, it's adversity, but as who is it? Napoleon Hill says, through every adversity lies seeds of equal or greater opportunity. And that's exactly how I believe we have to look at this, is that we're going to get through it. But the question is, when we get through on the other side, right? When we're out of quarantine, when we're back into operating, what I call, back to reality, what will you have done with your time? Will you have remained inside and panicked the entire time? Or will you have improved? Will you have self-developed? Will you have figured out how you can move yourself and your family further, right? You take that I would say in addition to the fact that we're looking at a completely new society right now, completely new. On the last stream, that's exactly what we talked about, how we're going to see companies be a lot more innovative. They're going to be a lot more efficient right now. There's going to be a lot less fat, right, in businesses. You're going to see a lot more deliveries. You're going to see health tech increase. You're also going to see media and entertainment increase. There's lots of industries that we talked about. But the bottom line is that the world is going to change. So are you going to be prepared for this change in the world? Oh, no, there goes the lighting. All right, there it goes. It's back. So today, what we're talking about is what we can do right now, today, to build and expand our network, right? To build and expand our network. And one of the things that comes to mind when I think about your network is there was Mark Granovetter was a researcher, he was a professor at Stanford, and he's the one who authored a theory called weak ties. Weak ties. This is something that I have written about, I've given speeches about for literally the last 10 years. Now, here's what I find fascinating about weak ties, and please let this sit in, right? The whole idea with weak ties is that all of us have a network, right? We all have people that know us and we know them digitally and in real life. Now, most of us, when we look for opportunity in life, that opportunity could be a new job, it could be a partnership, it could be, you're looking for, a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you consider to be opportunity. Most of us go to our immediate circle, right? Our immediate circle of friends. It could be a best friend. It could be, a brother, sister. Well, we go to that immediate close group and we look for the opportunity, right? Oh, do you know anyone who's hiring? Or do you know anyone who I'm launching a business. I'm looking for, someone to purchase whatever it may be. Do you know anyone who could do that? We go to that immediate circle. But here's the problem with that. The problem with that, and this is what Mark Granovetter saw in his research, is that most opportunity doesn't lie in the inner circle of our network. Most opportunity lies in the outer circle of our network, our weakest ties. So think, your weakest tie is the person who you know and you know them, but you don't really know them. You know what I mean? It's like, it could be your college roommate from 10, 20 years ago that you haven't talked to in a long, you don't even know if they're married, you don't know, if they're locked up, right? You don't know what in the world is going on, right? It could be someone who you've met on social, right? So for example, a lot of us were in D Nice's club quarantine, right? I was definitely up in club quarantine. Shout out, by the way, if you were in club quarantine, let me know if you were there, because I was there, right? I know D Nice he's done this a few times, but I was definitely there. And let me tell you what happened. What was interesting is the moment that I got there, right? So D Nice, if you don't know, is a DJ. Look at all these people saying that I was there. D Nice is a DJ, and about more than a DJ. Like if you know D Nice, like I know D Nice, you know D Nice actually was a rapper back in the day. But anyway, D Nice basically would spin, like he would just DJ right for hours at a time on Instagram Live. And what was fascinating to me about this is like first everybody showed up. Like Janet Jackson was there watching, Michelle Obama, you had Joe Biden, right, was there. Like you had all these incredible celebrities show up to Instagram Live to watch D Nice. But the moment that you show up, and you show up by leaving a comment like, hey, I'm here. Or like my comment was something like, hey, I'm going to the bar to get a drink. Anybody want to come with me? It was something simple like that, right? The moment that I did that, in my DMs, I had literally within 2 minutes, I had about 10 messages from people that I kind of know, they kind of know me, but we felt connected because we were experiencing something together at the same time. Now, keep in mind, this was a digital experience. So this is the first time this has ever happened to me where we were digitally connecting, we were experiencing something, and they messaged me directly just to check in. And that check-in led to us going back and forth, which led to some phone calls with some folks, which led to strengthening weak ties. And what Mark Granovetter says is that if you want more opportunity in your life, you want better job promotion, better job offers, you know, you a better husband. No, I'm joking. But you know, if you want, if you want more opportunities in your life, you have to go to your weakest ties and strengthen those. And so that's the reason why today in the stream is so important, is because we're basically going to get to hear from 3 of my favorite social connectors. Like legit, when I thought about this idea, 3 people came to mind. I DM'd all 3 people and they got back and they were like, we're in. And these are my top 3 picks of people who I believe have successfully built careers predominantly on their ability to digitally connect, to digitally strengthen their network. And I think their careers have blossomed and they've impacted the world as a result of this. And so that's exactly what I want to talk about. I love all the comments here I'm seeing on strengthening weak ties. But before we bring them on, 700 live streaming right now, incredible. But before I bring them on, I need to know where you're from. And you already know how I feel about Jamaica, but I need to know who's from where. And this is important for 2 reasons. One, because I just want to see where everybody's watching from, but also it's really cool when you see someone watching from your own city, right? So where are you from? Drop it in right now. Let me see where oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Look at this. My man, David from Kingston, Jamaica. Kingston, Jamaica in the house. This is my man, David. What's going on? All right. I see Carla from the DM. Oh man, I see a lot of DMVs. I see Carla from New Jersey. Let me go to LinkedIn real quick. Laura Lee from Orlando. Seneca Drake from New Jersey. Oh, my man Paul Stennett from Jamaica. What's up? Oh, I see some more Island Love in the house. Bahamas in the house. Carrie Henderson. What's up, Carrie? What's up? Silver Spring, but she's watching from LA. My man Chad from Anguilla. Laura Lee from Trinidad. Oh man, Natasha from Harlem. We've got everybody. My man Shane Grimes from the UK. This is what I love about this. We're all over the place. I see Philly. I see New Mexico. I see San Diego. My man Brian Ford, San Diego, right? All over. We are together. We are together. We are experiencing a moment together. There's something special in this. So now, here's the beauty. Right now, all right, so we're a little over 700 live right now, okay? You think about this. 700 of us are all experiencing the same moment. So now my question becomes, how do we move this further? right? How do we begin to connect with each other in a way that it will bring not only opportunity to us, but that you can share opportunities with others? So this is exactly what we're talking about. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that we're doing this. All right, so let's get it going. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to bring on the guests right now. But what I want to do is I'm going to bring on the guests one by one. And I want to spend 2-3 minutes with each guest first before we actually create the panel. And that way you could hear a little bit from the guest themselves, so that you don't hear everyone else. But then also I want you to think about how you may have questions for that particular person. And therefore, once I start to open up the questions, make sure you get your question in, because what I saw with the last live stream is that right at the last 5 minutes, we had hundreds of questions that we couldn't get to. So start to get your questions in early, and I'll start to go through those when the speakers are up talking. So that is it. Kingston, you have any questions? You good?
I'm good.
All right, Kingston is my co-host right here. He's watching alongside. He said he's good. All right, so I want to bring on Natalia first. And the reason why I want to bring on Natalia, and Kingston knows this. Kingston, what was I doing right before the live stream? What were we doing together? King, come here for a second. All right, Natalia, you're going to appreciate this. And I think this is a good lesson for everybody. All right, I didn't put him on I'm putting him on the spot right now. This is my man, Kingston. This is my oldest. All right, so King, what were we doing right before this?
Talking about the coronavirus.
Yeah, we were talking about the coronavirus, but what were we doing on YouTube? What were we trying to figure out on YouTube? How to pronounce? Yes, what?
Somebody's name.
Right, whose name were we trying to pronounce?
I don't know. Natalia.
All right, so here's the thing. So Natalia, we had no idea how to pronounce your last name. So Kingston and I got onto YouTube and we tried to figure it out, because Natalia, you have a very challenging name. And what I noticed, because I like to stalk. So anytime I interview someone, this is for everybody. Every time I interview someone, I stalk them on YouTube. I watch interview after interview after interview after interview after interview of them. And one thing I noticed about Natalia in her interviews, and if you stalk her like I did, you'll notice this, is almost everyone who brought her on, no one would say her last name. Nobody would say her last name. They'd say, this is Natalia. This is Dr. Natalia. All right, so are we going to do it? Let's try to do it together. Okay? Okay, all right, ready? All right, so Natalia, here we go. You tell us how good we have it, okay? You tell us if we mess it up. Okay, ready? We're going to go. All right, ready? This is Dr. Natalia. What? Oh my gosh, Natalia, we tried to do it, but we had Vescojivi. No, Vescojivi. No, all right. All right, fine. I messed it up. Sorry, Kingston, I'm a bad example. All right. So, but here's the thing. Let me say this about Natalia. Natalia, right now, if you go to her Instagram, you go to her LinkedIn, you'll see that she has, I think, the #1 book, best-selling book right now in 2 categories. There is, I think, a third category where she's #2. She's outselling Tony Robbins and all of these folks. I mean, it is absolutely incredible. And I believe this is her first book. On top of it, she has all the energy in the world. So let me bring, they said we tried. Let me bring my sis, Natalia.
Gosh, you guys were so cute. It was like cuteness overload. I was laughing so hard. I mean, yes, my last name is terrible because it's Polish origin and I'm German and everybody's so freaking confused. That's the reason why I actually created my brand Think Natalia. Make it easier for the people so they don't have to say Wiechowski.
Wiechowski. Oh, yes, we had it. Okay, Wiechowski. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
I will never forget that, Natalia. Never forget that. And also, Natalia, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Also for this beautiful introduction and for all of your energy and for putting this together and for allowing us to share our time and our expertise and hopefully inspire a few people to really do what they're very, very afraid of, but that will add tremendous value to their lives.
Absolutely. So let me get right into it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned in the little caption for some of the posts that I believe this is the greatest time in modern history for us to connect with one another, right? For us to build a network. How do you feel about that? What's your honest take on that? Is it, and if so, why? Is it not, and if so, why?
I think it's a great opportunity. And I know that, especially when you come from my background from Germany, people are like, oh, you can't say that. You can't be too positive. Like, you can't see it as an opportunity. Terms and conditions apply. I'm fully aware of the current situation. And I know about the magnitude. And a part of me is also very, very scared. And I'm not ignoring that. And in these times, I give my best to see what I can learn out of it, because I have trained myself and my mind, my whole system for over 6 years to be able to see the positive or the opportunity in no matter what situation. So yes, at the moment, I have the feeling that when we know how to use technology, we can create beautiful new communities. We can start having conversations all across the world. I mean, in the beginning, when we said, who's here, like people from the panel, I mean, we're from literally 4 different continents and we're making this happen. So it's really about understanding what is networking, what are connections, and it all goes back to it's a human being with another human being that wants to communicate, that wants to share information. It's about 2 dots connecting to turn into a contact to help each other. And as you said, to hopefully strengthen that weak tie, because this is where all of these information lie in that can have a huge positive impact on your business, on your career, and even in your private life. But when you don't go out there, when you don't say, hey, I am so-and-so, this is how I can help, I have this problem, let's connect. People cannot read your mind. So start having these conversations.
Yeah, and that's why I can't wait to get into how do we position ourselves digitally for that, right? One of the things that I really adore about you and your brand is that you're able to convey who you are digitally. And you do that in everything that you do. Like I see that you've done that with your branding, you do that with your messaging, so that I don't even need to watch a video of yours to actually get a good feel of who you are, what you stand for, what your values are. And that allows me to know whether or not I want to or should connect with you, right? But we'll get into all of that. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep pulling everyone in. So thank you, everybody. Natalia's in the house. She's gonna be here, which is good. All right, so Natalia, we'll be right back to you, So Natalia just mentioned something about the importance of networking. And so I wanna bring on our next guest, and I wanna have them answer for us what they believe networking is. And the reason why I wanna talk about this definition briefly is because I've noticed that for so many of us, maybe not so many of us on this session, but for so many people, networking is either a bad word, right? It feels real sleazy, especially here. So right now I'm in London. What I've noticed about the UK is, like, in the US, in New York, especially where I was born, or Washington, DC, where I live most of the time. But I've noticed that we have networking events like every day. Like every day somewhere in the city, there are hundreds of networking events. When I came here to the UK and I was like, hey, are there any networking events? They were like, networking? What? Like there's like sales and like, that's not a real big thing here. So I want us just to get a feel for what exactly is networking. And in order to do that, I want to bring on my sis, April Franks, someone, a much easier name to pronounce, by the way, April Franks. But someone who, I was joking with her right when we started that she's someone who, she's one of the people that I know who, whenever they say they're going to do something, they do it. And they do it at 1,000%. And what I also adore about April is she's someone who's been able to navigate digital, whether it be live streaming. She's had lots of different shows, but whether it be off online, right? So she's a filmmaker as well, right? So she does things offline, host events, etc., that help to build her network and help to grow other people's networks. But then she also does it online, and she's been doing this at least at least the last decade, right? Doing it very successfully. So let's bring on my sis from Las Vegas. And look at this. Everybody's shouting her out already. Let's bring her up. From Las Vegas, we've got none other than April in the house. Look at this. What's going on?
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh man, thank you. Thank you for saying yes to this.
Yes.
Let's get right to it. I'm curious about this. Especially your thoughts. How do you define networking? Like what really is it?
It's interesting. First of all, thanks for doing this. Second of all, hey, Natalia, and nice to see you. I think for me, it's really more about relationship building. I think networking had a good intention when networking first started, right? However many decades ago, when people started this interconnectivity, because that's really what networking is. It's think of the phone line, right? There is a network that connects all the phone lines together that somehow connects us on our mobile devices, somehow connects us. And so there's that connectivity, and everything, in order for a thing to work, everything has to be intertwined some sort of way. And so when you transfer that to the human component and the human element, and then you have a common theme that would connect us. And I think when you go a little bit further, besides the regular networking, I think what a lot of people forget is the relationship building component that is a part of networking. So I think traditionally what networking has morphed into isn't necessarily sexy. I think what we do have the opportunity to convey is that building relationships within your network is a very sexy thing. It is a very relevant thing. It is a very necessary tool to use in order to facilitate and push out your vision.
Yeah. What I've noticed about that kind of that term, and I saw this is something that Natalia did, and this is why I go back to how I think she does a great job in presenting who she is without having to say something. Is I noticed that when I initially posted this, I posted this under the phrase "grow your network," right?
Mm-hmm.
Your network, and there was backlash. When I say backlash, not a lot, but some people messaged me. They're like, why are we talking about this now, Paul? Why do you want to talk about this now? Whereas I noticed how Natalia positioned it. It was more so, how do you expand your social connections?
Yes.
It was just a different take on it. And it's exactly, what you're saying here. And so no, I'm with it. Thank you for being here. Look at my man Wayne says, this is a great topic though. So I guess it's how you say it. April and Natalia say it much better than I do. So thank you, April. I'm going to bring on Mark next. So April, sit tight for us. I'm bringing on my man, Mark. Now, here's the big reason why I wanted Mark on, okay? Mark Metry is someone who is, I feel like Mark is, sometimes the word hustle gets used in the wrong way. Mark, if you think of it only in the right way, Mark is that hustler. When I reached out to Mark to do this, I looked in, whenever you go into, I sent Mark maybe a message on LinkedIn to see if he was available to do this. When I sent him the message, I saw a message from Mark reaching out to support me from 2017. From 2017. There was a message from Mark reaching out to support me. Let me underscore that, in 2017. And that's just, I think, evidence to show how much of a hustler / networker Mark is. And he has built a top podcast in the top 100 globally, which is incredible. How do you do that with no, I don't see, Mark running around here in a Bentley. So I don't think he's buying those streams, right? I think he's out here hand-to-hand combat doing it. Also, Mark talks quite a bit about being shy / introverted. And this is the big reason why I wanted Mark on, because of the hustle, but also because a lot of us, and I say us because I am an introvert. A lot of people don't believe that, but I am. I am a straight I, right? I'm an INTJ, right? Yeah, INTJ. But so Mark, I think, represents us. And when it comes to connecting with others, even if it's digitally, I feel as if introverts and or people who are shy, that we have, sometimes we have a harder time with it. So I wanted to have Mark on in particular because I think he represents us well. So let me bring on my man. Look at this. Look at all the introverts in the house. Actually, if you're an introvert, let us know if you're an introvert right now. Let us know. By the way, 1,000 live right now, 1,000 live right now. That's insane. But if you're an introvert, let me see how many introverts are in the house. I'd love to see how many introverts are in the house. But my man, Mark, man.
Dude,
Give it up.
what is up, man?
Give it up for Mark. Give it up for Mark.
Dude, thank you so much for having me on. And by the way, I'm a INTJ too.
Really?
Yeah. It's crazy, man. But yeah, man, it's been a really great time watching your journey. I remember reaching out to you back in 2017, man, and I love this overall topic because, like, I feel like now, because of what's going on with Corona, now everyone is asking, like, oh, how am I supposed to network now that I can't leave my house? And I feel like for me, I've been prepping for this lifestyle for the last 4 years. You know, of course, I go to events, I speak and whatnot, but most of my networking happens online, man. And I've built like a network of people that come from all sorts of different fields that I honestly would have never even dreamed for them to be in my network. And yet I text them like all the time. Like every morning they hit me up and it's just like, if I could do it, and I'm not just like an introvert. I also come from a background of experiencing social anxiety for like the last 10 years of my life, like very, very severely. And so aside from my transformation, I felt like I kind of had to do this because I didn't have a choice. And so now I'm glad that you brought me on here to shed some light into this, dude.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, thank you, man. Thank you, Mark. That's wow. Mark, everybody, look, you know, it's incredible, Mark. When I just asked, who are introverts, it's crazy. On every, I mean, it's just basically, I feel like over half of the response, well, over half of the folks watching are most likely eyes. I've read, studies that suggest that we are greater than 50% of the population. Yeah, so many introverts. So thank you very much. And I like this too. Kayla says, I'm a proud introvert. But that let's bring everybody, let's get the whole party popping right now. Let's bring the whole party in. Let's get the whole party here. All right, guys. All right. What's up, party people? What's up, party people?
Hey. Hey,
Hello.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good.
Good. What are you?
10.
It's a slow start of a party.
Yeah.
Too many introverts in the house.
We're all just dead silent.
Yeah, everyone's like, I'm good. It's funny. My youngest, so I have two children. One is 6, right? And the 6-year-old today, when asked, he said he's a 1 out of 1. And I was like, all right, that's maybe that's a good thing. If you're all right, so let's jump in here. For everyone who is watching, right? All 1,000 plus of you that are watching right now, if you have questions, drop those in the comments right now, and I'm going to start scrolling through to grab those. But I want to kick off the panel with this question. This is more of a personal question, right? Now, let's say that we are in this state of, yes, we do understand the importance and the value of expanding our social network, right? Where do we begin? What is the first step out the gate? So let's say that you're watching this, you're my man David sitting in Kingston, Jamaica right now, and you say to yourself, oh my God, yes, this is important. I have not been doing anything with regard to social connection, social networking. I need to expand my network because I want more opportunity. What do I do?
I think,
Well,
who is this question for? Everyone?
yeah, exactly.
Everybody.
Okay, I'll jump in.
Exactly.
I think if you haven't, I think one of the things before you even jump and do anything is really understand, what your objective is at this point. What is your objective at this point, right? Because you don't want to arbitrarily just start, being live and posting nonsense, but you really do want to understand what your objective is. Like objectively, what is it that you're looking to accomplish? And really revisit, what your vision is for yourself as a CEO, an influencer, entrepreneur, however you identify, a coach, a speaker. What is the vision that you're really wanting to cast? And then start to, there's a lot of steps, and then start to really just gain some clarity around that. What really is the message? What is it that you really want to convey? And what is it that you really want people to take action on? I think you need to start there and don't arbitrarily just start doing stuff that doesn't make sense. Take a little bit and maybe brainstorm with friends how we're doing virtually, right? And say, this is some of my ideas. This is what I want to do. And I think, you can take it from there and then start putting in some action steps. But first things first.
Absolutely. And then once you know your why, once you have this clarity, it's all about what I call building a personal brand. And as we talk about networking here and not about socializing, I would highly recommend to actually get that dust off your LinkedIn profile and actually sharpen it. So when you have a picture from the 1980s, most probably, or no picture at all, or you still have that job that you worked in 20 years ago, it's fine. Don't judge yourself for that, but update your profile, sharpen it, and understand that your LinkedIn profile is not, I repeat, not an online CV. It is some sort of landing page. It is like a web page. So, design it in a way that people want to spend time on it, that they get to know you, that they find you interesting, and that you explain who you are, what you do, like what kind of problems do you solve, for whom, and who should connect with you. Don't be shy to say, if you are da-da-da-da-da-da, or if you look for da-da-da-da-da, please connect with me. Mark, what do you think?
I think that's awesome. And to piggyback off that, what I always tell people is show people who you are before they actually meet you of what you're saying. And so I get all kinds of messages, emails, people that want to network with me. And the reality is like, if you don't have a social personal brand that actually represents who you are, I don't know who I'm affiliating myself with. I don't know if you are some person who has some, like really wacky views that are totally out there. I don't know what your purpose is. And so for me, whether it's a video, picture, you write articles, it's all about kind of giving a sense of people who you are before they actually, have that chance to connect with you. And the other thing that I would say is being an introvert, I struggle with just walking up to people and being like, hey, you want to chat? And so for me, something that I say all the time is create some sort of a mutually valuable excuse. And so, for example, in 2017, when I reached out to Paul, I not only commended him for his posts and supported him, but I was also like, hey, man, you should come on my podcast. And so through that podcast, through something that's mutually valuable, whether it's Paul wants to promote a program or a book or whatever he's on, or just wants to grow his personal brand, I have something to offer him. And then in turn, we can sort of just enter in the door, kind of put that first step in just so we can kind of introduce each other. And then later on, if we do end up building a relationship or not, that is sort of the first step in the door. And so I recommend people to create some sort of a mutually valuable excuse to just get in that door with someone else.
Okay, so this is great. All right, I love this. Let's stay right here and let's even go a little bit deeper, because I see a lot of questions popping up like Brian's about how do you add value? I see Kim Crowder, I see your question about what do I say exactly? So let's break this out into steps. The first step that I hear you all saying is the first thing we need to do is update our profile in a way that accurately reflects who we are and what we're seeking to do. whether that be on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, right across the board. So would you all agree that that's first thing, is update the profile?
Well, I think the first thing is identifying what the objective is, first of all, and then you start making action steps based on that.
Okay.
So what is the point? To what end are we doing whatever we're about to go do? And then we're starting to shift, taking those actions. We're updating the profiles. We're gaining clarity around our bio, who we serve, how we can support, how we can help. And then what, to Mark's point, finding that mutually beneficial excuse, which I love that. I'm going to borrow that and give you credit for the first 17 times. So yeah, I think that definitely that high level, like, because we all know what our visions are. And I think people,
but actually though, April, that's one where I don't know if we know, like, you know, because here's the thing. I always say, I say, I still don't know who I want to be when I grow up. I don't. You know, yeah, it's like, I don't know. Like,
don't grow up. That's
right.
That's a good point.
So let's go back to that first step then, because I think you're right. We need to have a vision for why, and that will help to create the strategy. So what do we do? What do those of us do if you're in my situation where you say, okay, you know, I just know social networking is important, but I don't have a like, I'm not trying to sell anything in particular. Like, I'm open-ended.
Well, I have an exercise that I always task my clients with, or gift my clients with, and I say, you know, in a perfect world, if it wouldn't matter how old you are, which gender you have, how much money you have, which religion you belong to, et cetera, everything is perfect, right? If you then had a look at your network, what kind of people would you like to have in them? Imagine you could be connected with everybody. Have a look at your current network. Be honest about it. Like, oh, these are the kind of people that I have. These are the kind of people that I'm lacking. So it could be mentors. It could be recruiters. It could be people out of the creative scene. It could be opera singers. It could be comedians. And it doesn't matter. It could be people living in, I don't know, because you want to have a speech there, or it could be people who live in this country who worked at that company because you, like, literally it doesn't matter what it is, but get clear on that, and let's say identify 3 perfect target audiences or avatars, however you want to call them, and then go to your friends and say, hey, I'm looking, or I want to connect with more comedians. And I learned from Mark Granovetter that there's this thing called forbidden triad. So when person A has a very good connection to person B and a very good connection to person C, the likeliness that B and C like each other is very high. So why can't person A be the connector between dot B and C? Boom.
Yeah, no, I'm with it. I'm with it. So, and I want us to actually go into specific, like even the specific wording that we use, right? I've seen a question here about that. But just on the note of strategy, just so I understand. So it sounds like what I'm hearing actually from Natalia and you, April, is that we need to have a strategy. We need to have a vision. And the strategy of the vision could be as simple as, I just want to add more people in my network that are like person A, B, and C, right? So I almost have avatars of them. So do you all agree with that? Like, so you need to have a vision before you think about the
goal, at least a goal. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, at least a goal.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I can speak from my perspective. You know, when I first started posting on LinkedIn, to be honest with you, I didn't really have a strategy. My goal was maybe to just like, it wasn't even to create a personal brand. And so, you know, what I'm about to say, I think doesn't give leeway to people, but I think it's important to understand that all of these things shift and change over time. And the more that you take steps, the more clear they become. And so for me, I just started posting on LinkedIn when I started my podcast. And at first, like from a professional background, I was coming from a background in technology and marketing. And I still do those things and I still love them. And I was posting about them. But then as sort of personally for me as a person, I began to grow, more of my interest began to head towards self-development, self-improvement, working on your mindset, your psychology, all those aspects of life. And then I began to post about that stuff online. And as my interest grew more and more and more, Now, my interests are very much more specifically within that subcategory under the general realm of like mental health. And so when I sort of began to realize that, and I also was like, man, I got to write a book about this. Then I began to like make LinkedIn posts, make podcast episodes that say, hey, people, you know, I'm working on this book. You know, here are some tips. Here are some tricks that you can learn from. And so people began to follow me from that. And then now my books come out and now I can sort of direct people towards that. But that's like over 2 years in the making. And so I think it's like you don't have to know like your whole, you know, God-given purpose. But I think like just to start, if you have some kind of a goal, you have some sort of a reason, because I think if you're just like randomly on LinkedIn, you're like, hey, dude, want to connect? Like, it's not going to be purposeful, especially in a time now where like people, I think, are getting more serious and they're focusing on the really important aspects of life. And for sure, more of us are on social media because of the quarantine. But I think now people are getting more specific on how they use it. And so for me, like just as a general rule of thumb, I'd love to hear your guys' take on this, but I always think back, I'm like, if I'm about to send a message to Paul, if I'm about to send a message to Natalia, I have to like literally, without adding too much pressure to myself, I have to literally imagine like for Paul to look at his phone and read my message, those are 30 seconds, 60 seconds away from his son, from his family, away from his business. And so for me, I'm always trying to figure out like, what could I actually do that's just like no BS? What could I actually do to actually help someone? And I think as humans, we're not connected to that. Like we might see someone who has maybe a ton of money or a ton of followers, and we're like, oh man, we can't possibly help those people. But the matter of the fact is everyone is a human. Everyone has all human elements, and you never know how you can help someone and actually maybe see eye to eye from them. So yeah, it's interesting.
Man, that was brilliant. I mean, and that's a great segue to the next step, right? So what I'm walking away with from that kind of first round is, all right, we need to have either a specific strategy or a loose goal, but we need to have purpose, and that purpose lends itself to then shaping our profile, right? So then the next step is, Natalia, I definitely want to hear what you were talking about in terms of the connection. I mean, that sounds fascinating, and I think it dovetails into Brian's question, and Mark, what you just mentioned is how, like Mark, when you're thinking about that, right? How can you add value? How can we, to Brian's question, how can we add value to someone who we feel doesn't even need anything from us?
Well, I think the first thing is not making that assumption. You don't know what people need, you know, and let me say this, a lot of time, the people that you want to connect with, influencers, or successful business people, thought leaders, we are so attracted to the confidence that you even asked. So attracted to, I'm like, well, shoot your shot. Like, let's try and make something happen. So I think not making that assumption necessarily. I think it's really important to Mark's point, identify that mutually beneficial excuse, but don't make the assumption that I don't need anything, or Paul doesn't need anything, or Mark or Natalia doesn't need anything. I think that's shooting yourself down and focused in the wrong direction. I think you should definitely be like, how could I add value? And sometimes the value that we add to others is just saying yes.
Yeah, I love it. Man, and that changed me right there. Like, don't make that assumption. Come on.
Just saying yes. I mean, like sometimes when you're just starting out, I remember just starting out and wanting to reach, and I reached out to people that were bigger than me and had more followers and all that. And the worst thing they could say was no, which I was already at no. I already didn't have them on the recording. I already didn't have them as a partner or a confidant or whatever. I already didn't have that. So the worst thing they could say was no, or to ignore my message. And I think the majority of the time, especially now, people are looking to connect and expand. And this is just such a great opportunity to really see what we're really made of, and really really do what we say that we're about and what we're going to do. I think this is like the perfect opportunity for that.
Yeah. All right. There you go. So Natalia, you were talking about how technically how to make those connections, especially, I'm assuming we could use this strategy with influencers. So walk us through it so we all know.
I think at the beginning, it's important that you really personalize your message. So let's talk about, for example, a platform like LinkedIn, which is, a platform where I'm home at. A lot of people just click on the connect button and I'm like, who are you? What do you want? No, I'm not going to connect with you because I don't know who you are and I don't know how I can add value to you. And to be honest, I already have 30,000 connections. I can't accept you. So first of all, when you use such a platform, you need to send a contact message. Like, why do you want to connect with me? And I think psychologically, something very interesting happens here. It's like, you're a stranger, I'm here, we have nothing in common. So you need to do something to break the ice. And there are a few things that you can do. Number one, you can mention that person's name. Dear Sandra, dear Paul, dear Tony, right? So, whoa, suddenly it's not a stranger, but you know their first name. Then you work on what do you have in common. Find out what you have in common. I also saw that you're a passionate kite surfer. I saw that you love your dog. I saw that you also went to this school. I realized you're also a speaker. And I'm at the beginning of my speaking career. I just want to learn from you. When you give them a compliment, you even get closer to them. And then you maybe mention in one sentence without pitching, without selling, what you do, and then you give them the opportunity. Do you want to connect? So you're not like, connect with me into your face. You give them the opportunity to say no. And then you say, kind regards, wish you a great day, whatever, and you mention your name. That is polite, that breaks the ice. You can add humor, you can show your character, you give them the opportunity to say no. Boom. That is a formula that perfectly works for me.
I love what you just said about giving people the opportunity to say yes or no. Yeah. Like, don't be afraid of that. Let's get on with it. You want to be aligned with people that want to be aligned with you. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely love that. And I love what you said, April, about not assuming. And so, like, personally for me, two stories that come to mind where I really realized this firsthand was when I reached out to like this billionaire to be a guest on my podcast. Just reached out to him over email, didn't respond back to me. And then I sent him an email on Saturday, responded back. He's like, yeah, dude, let's do it. And so we hop on a virtual call. We record the interview. I learned more about his company, and he has a healthcare company. And I end up trying out what his company offers. And from a health perspective, it totally changed my life. And it also changed a lot of other people in my family's lives. So then what I start to do is, like, since I actually believe in this product, I actually believe in what I'm talking about, I just begin to promote this on my social media. And this billionaire hits me back up and he's like, dude, thank you so much for everything that you're doing. And so we stay in touch. We talk to each other. And last year, I visited him in Seattle where he lives. I took a flight up there. We did another in-person interview on my podcast. And he was like, yo, dude, do you want to be a guest on my podcast? I'm like, yeah, absolutely, man. Let's do it. And so
hold on, Mark, I have a question though.
Yeah.
Did this billionaire literally say, yo, dude, you want to be he was like, hey, yo, dude.
He was like, yo, bro. Okay, nah, he did it. That would have been pretty cool. But like, that just went to show me, like, wow, you could have a ton of money. He has way more followers than me on social media, way better personal brand, and you could still help someone out with that. Second thing is another podcast interview I was doing with someone, and this guy, very influential, like New York Times bestselling author. And we're doing the interview, and my podcast, again, it's about mental health. So a lot of this stuff is deep and personal. And like in the middle end of the podcast, he starts crying, and we pause the podcast, and he basically tells me that one of his family members committed suicide like the last couple months ago. And so we kind of like paused the podcast for 10 minutes. We kind of just talked, just person to person. And then we like resumed the podcast and everything went fine. And then 4 months or 5 months from that moment, this guy calls me up and he was like, hey man, I just wanted to say that I want to thank you for what you did, because at that time of that podcast, I was going through a really tough time. I was going through a really emotional time. And you just kind of like, aside from the podcast, when you paused it, you just kind of like listened to me and kind of let me process my own thoughts and emotions. And he was like, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you. And then he invited me to be a speaker at one of his events with like a ton of other people that I look up to. And so both of those stories have really taught me that, like, you don't need to have a certain amount of followers. You don't need to have a certain amount of money or a certain amount of like social clout or whatever it is. If you look at it from the lens of, oh, this guy or gal is just a human and I'm just a human and I can actually help them, that's the best. And like, even today, like the amount of times that I get like DMs on Instagram from just normal people that might listen to my podcast or might have read my book, and they're like, hey, dude, I'm going to introduce you to my uncle because my uncle runs a business and they're trying to figure out, you know, how to start a podcast right now or how to do this thing you're an expert in. And so that really has taught me the importance of not just kind of being relatable to people, but what I've also learned is that when you're able to have like a personal brand, it almost sets part of your networking on autopilot, in the sense of like, when I'm making content and I'm making content every day, people can then reach out to me. People can then come to me, message me and be like, hey, Mark, I saw that you're looking for this, or I saw that you're working on this. And so the way that I think about it is like, if you can start a personal brand, it really, not in every case, not universally, it really can almost be like a magnet where you're just pulling in the like-minded people, the like-minded ideas, companies that are going to come to you, and you guys might actually collaborate or not. And so that's the way I think about it.
Man, well
if that
said.
makes any sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. And I think what I'm taking away right now is how I look at this is we need to start with a purpose, right? April, I'm really taking that from you. Start with a purpose, right? You should have a vision, and then you need to adjust your profile, right? Natalia, that's what you're saying. Adjust it, make sure that the profile reflects that vision, no matter how specific or wide it is, right? And then to get into the nuances, then we have to change our mindset and know that we can add value to everyone. There's something that we can do to support everyone, right? There's something special that we have. That's our uniqueness. That's our power. Our power is our uniqueness. So there's something that we can add of value. And then we should strategically reach out. And Natalia, you kind of broke down exactly how we should reach out strategically, using names, suggesting what we have in common, etc. And then Mark, I think your push here is, and then follow up. Like, I think just that element of, I messaged him and then I messaged him again, right? So many of us drop that one message, no one responds, and we say, oh, well, right? I didn't want them anyway.
It's like a dude getting turned down for a dance. Calm. She wasn't ready.
Exactly. So this is all beautiful. Now, here's the crazy thing. Like, the number of questions and the number of people on have gone up, and we're at our time, and there's still a million questions. So let me just kind of end with this, because I want to respect your time. I want to end with Mark's comment of, if we have a personal brand, it sets this connection on autopilot. This is something that I believe each one of you you here today, I think you have very strong personal brands. Whereas, we'll get into your how to reach out to you in a second. But when you do, everyone watching this, when you go to check these guys out on LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever it may be, you'll understand exactly what they value, exactly what they stand for, just by looking at their profiles. And quite honestly, I've looked at my profile. I said, I need to readjust what I'm doing. Because you don't know which way I'm coming. What am I doing? Like, what do I believe in?
I love your profile. I love that you have a muted color palette.
Yeah, this is me, April.
Yeah, the black, gray, white thing. I think that's fantastic.
I'm wearing bright colors today.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep up with Natalia with my bright.
I'm gonna add something about the network, just to piggyback off Mark's point when you get a second.
Sure, absolutely. So here's what we'll do. Let's do a round robin on this as kind of a closeout. Is what would you say are 3 powerful tips that people can do today to help to further their personal brand, right? Because Mark just said your personal brand, it sets this on autopilot. So we've talked about the strategy of connecting and even the psychology of connecting, but let's move it to now the personal brand on autopilot. What are 3 things we can do today? And then April, if you can include, your thoughts. So April, you want to
Sure.
take us to the promised land?
Sure. Yeah. So, so this has been definitely a fantastic conversation. I can't wait to dive in the comments and support and answer questions once we hop off. I think the first thing from me would be to stop talking to people that only want to talk about the coronavirus and the fact that the world is gone to hell in a handbasket. I think preserving your mental space and your spiritual alignment and your positivity this is a critical time for that. It's easy to move into fear and panic and all those things because the people position themselves for that. And the truth of the matter is most people are not leading. So I think you have to make the decision that if you're going to be a leader in the space and you have something to say, that you have to really guard your atmosphere, what you're watching, what you're listening to. And I'm not saying don't be informed. I'm saying check in to be informed. Don't just follow all the nonsense. The second thing I would like to say is remember, and to Mark's point, the Law of 250 by an author and a salesman, and his name is Joe Girard. The Law of 250 says that we are all currently right now, at least we have the influence of 250 individuals. Joe Girard wrote the book called How to Sell Anything to Anybody. You can find it on Amazon. They have a Kindle version as well. He sold 1.5 million copies of that book, and he's 91 years old right now. And I think it's just important just to remember that we're all connected to so many people. And it doesn't mean that that's 250 customers or clients, but some of them are. Some of those people that you influence could be family. Some could be people like myself or Natalia or Mark. And so just remembering that we really all have so much influence already, we get to decide how we're going to use that influence. And then the third thing for me would have to be to then start connecting with people like this and having these types of conversations. What are you focused on? And to shift that focus, because remember, focus means that you have a certain thing or an activity that you're giving your attention to. So you get to decide what you're giving your attention to every day. So if it's cultivating your brand, gaining more clarity on your message, watching YouTube videos, working with me, working with Natalia, connecting with Mark, connecting with Paul, whatever that is, you get to decide where your focus lies. And I think that is where we need to be. What do you want to be focused on? Because what we're in right now, this is momentum building time. When we get through this over the next 30, 60, 90 days, the people that really decided to take heed to this message are the people that are going to be standing tall. And those are the people that are going to have built the most momentum.
Amen.
I love that. Cool.
I wish that I had a collection plate to pass that one. If we pass that collection plate digitally, how can we digitally pass the collection plate? Because that was like that was beautiful. All right, so, Natalia, what do you think, Natalia? You when I think about personal branding, honestly, Natalia, I mean, I'm just not. I swear, I'm not trying to gas you up, but I think you are in top 1% of personal. I give you top 1%.
Give her the gas. Give her the gas. Yeah.
Top 1%. I mean, look, Natalia's glasses match her shirt right now. This is how serious we are. Like the top 1%. So,
and also my eyeliner. I don't know if you can see it, but the color of my eyeliner is the same.
Be careful, girl. We see it.
So Natalia, take us to church. What do you think? Top 3 tip on personal branding?
Well, I believe, especially in the time where we are right now, you don't need to do everything on your own, especially when the whole personal branding journey is something new for you and working online is new for you and you're all totally stressed. Why on earth do you think you need to do that on your own? Get an accountability partner, a friend, a colleague, somebody that you like and trust, and somebody who wants to achieve similar goals, which would be building a personal brand or expanding your network or both or whatever. So get that partner and say, we're in this together. We do this together. You encourage and motivate me, and vice versa. You tell me and send me messages. Have you done this? Have you done this? We check in daily, so we make sure that we grow together, because this actually increases the likeliness of achieving that target, and it's more fun and it's less pain. You know, in German we say, when you're two and you share the pain, it's less pain. So that would be the first step. We worked about profile sharpening. We talked about profile sharpening. We talked about the why. And Mark said something very beautiful about turning into a magnet. So start documenting your journey. I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk says that you don't need to create content at the beginning. You can start with documenting. And with documenting your journey is literally, it's about walking through life or through your house at the moment and asking yourself, what of that would look interesting on the internet? What kind of story can I tell about it? What can I share that somehow adds value? And then through your content, through your language, through your stories, people will resonate. The right people who look at the world in a similar way, people who have similar values, they will like you. They will connect with you. They will comment. They will like. They will engage. And through that, especially when you're an introvert, you make it easier, because then people really resonate with it. They will send you a contact request. So all of this, oh, how do I reach out to people, is actually taken away from you by turning into a content machine. And you don't need to post 10,000 times per day. Start with once per week, then make it twice per week, make it 3 times per week, because now we all have time. Right? We always work, I don't have time to do that. Now we have time. So, and then the last point is make it a priority. If you don't commit to it, if you don't say, this is important to me right now, and I have this reason, and I have a partner, and this is the strategy and the plan. If you don't 100% commit to it, it's not going to happen. So maybe gift yourself with something like a present, something that you're going to buy or to achieve or to do once you really achieved your target. So you have something up there at the silver line that is motivating you, that is pulling you towards actually achieving what you want to do. And this way, again, this increases the chances of you getting where you want to be.
Yeah. I tell you, everyone here is talking about how important that storytelling is. Also, lots of folks on LinkedIn told me, Paul, but you completely missed that. Not only does Natalia's glasses match the eyelash, which match the shirt, but also matches her backdrop. I forgot about that, so I'm sorry. But no, I mean, brilliant. Also, to go back to LinkedIn to show a little bit of love, one big thing that I missed, so I'm sorry, on LinkedIn, Jabril Ahmed wanted to shout out all the single ladies in the building. I have to always make sure that we shout out all the single ladies in the building. See, that's networking at its finest right there. At its finest.
That's hilarious.
All right. So, Mark,
Hi.
take us home. Yeah. Three tips.
Yeah. So number one, not to get too counterintuitive, I wrote this article on my LinkedIn called Forget the Brand, Focus on the Man or Woman. And basically I talk about the fact that, again, nobody's perfect. There's no such thing. But I feel like a lot of people who end up kind of going down this road of becoming content creators usually end up not really starting it with a purpose, kind of doing it randomly. Sometimes they catch success, sometimes they don't. And I've seen a lot of people burnt out because they haven't actually, not that it's a perfect one-time process, but it's because they haven't really found who they are. And they're relying too much on like this digital ego that they're building, when in reality, there's no substance and people are going to see right through that. And so make sure that you're like a good person, first off, number one, which we all are. Make sure you present that way. Number two is definitely get on LinkedIn. I mean, I think Facebook and Instagram, I think those are all great. I use them, but I think LinkedIn is just unparalleled right now compared to how much of an advantage, especially someone starting out, can grow an audience on LinkedIn. I think it's unparalleled. And then number three is experiment and try to find like your unique communication style. And so like, you don't like, if you're not outward like we are, or not even, or personally for myself, you don't need to live stream. You don't need to make videos. You could, but you could just like write. Let's say you're a terrible writer, but let's say you write poems or let's say you take pictures, whatever way that you can find a way to express yourself, that is the key. And then as you get more comfortable with that, then work your way up. And so that's what I would say. 1, 2, 3. Let's keep it simple and short.
There you go. All right. I love it. I love it. This is really good. I know we've run over and I appreciate it. And it was interesting because I see a lot of folks on LinkedIn saying, still keep going. But we're going to respect everyone's time. Natalia is in Dubai right now. It's super late. Then we've got Mark and I are kind of in the middle, right? I'm in London, Mark's in Mass. And then we have April in Las Vegas, right? It's at the top of the morning for her and she's getting ready to meet with her team. So I want to make sure that we support this. I know for a fact, looking at the comments, that everyone's walking away, with ideas on how to now build a stronger connection, a stronger network. I know I am, right? So I've gotten a lot of value out of this. A massive way to show our appreciation is to support by at least investigating more about the guests, right? The people who bestowed all this this knowledge on us. So let's go around because I know you all are authors. There's projects that you're involved with right now. Let's just go around. Let us know where we can reach you. So I'm assuming for a fact Natalia and Mark are going to say LinkedIn because they're like LinkedIn is where to go, right? So, but let us know how we can reach you and what's one thing that we can do to support what you are doing. Right. And since I've always started, Mark, since you've always been last, let me start with you, Mark.
Yes.
Mark, you get in there, man. You get in there and do it. Mark,
definitely, man. So first off, definitely feel free to add me on LinkedIn. Like Natalia said, go to my LinkedIn or my Instagram, whatever, and definitely at least send me a DM or send me some sort of a personalized note that you came from Paul's live stream. Second thing is, literally, as of last weekend, I became an author and I wrote this book called Screw Being Shy. And it's all about people who are super, super shy and they don't want to be anymore. There's nothing wrong with being an introvert. That's a superpower, but a lot of us don't really know how to use it. So if that interests you, go to Amazon or on my profile and you'll see a link. You could search it. It's at Barnes & Noble's too. Screw Being Shy.
I love that.
We're going to Screw Being Shy.
Thank you.
All right. So now, Natalia, what's going on? Bestselling.
What's going on? Yeah, it's so funny. When I saw Mark's book, I'm like, oh, I have mine here as well.
Yes.
It is in German, though, because I wanted to test it in the German-speaking market. I wanted to make all of the mistakes. And now I started working on an English version yesterday. So in the meantime, connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to learn a lot about personal branding on LinkedIn. If you want to see me running around in a unicorn onesie, then hit me up on Instagram. Although sometimes I also do that on LinkedIn. And anyway, how to support, literally join my LinkedIn lives. Tell me what your problem is. Please communicate with me, and then I can, create better content to support you. I'm not creating content because hashtag, look at me, hashtag so blessed, hashtag woke up like this, hashtag on a boat. No, I create content because I want to make a difference, because I want to educate people, make them think and laugh. So tell me what your real world problems are, especially around LinkedIn personal branding, and I give my best to create content around that. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us, Natalia. And congrats. I mean, best-selling book. That's significant. That's significant. So thank you very much. We're proud of you. We're proud of you. All right. So now we've got Vegas giving us some luck.
Yeah.
Tonight. What do we got going on in Vegas, April? Take us out.
Yeah. So first of all, thanks. It was so great connecting with everyone here this morning. Thanks to all the viewers as well. So for us right now, one of our initiatives that we launched last week was we want to help 2.5 million entrepreneurs by impacting 10,000. And by impacting 10,000, we are scholarshiping one of our online membership so that people can continue the momentum and learn and be focused on their specific business. So if you follow me on Instagram at Epic April, you can learn more about what's all included in the membership. But for 90 days, we want to work with people so that they have the opportunity to maintain that focus, continue to grow their tribe and their business and scale through this period of time. And so that's what we are doing right now. So if you go follow me on Instagram, watch the stories, all the details are there, and you can opt in for that opportunity. And we are literally scholarshiping $2.9 million of coaching and training services.
Wow.
Well
Man.
Woo!
I'm going to drop the mic. Okay.
Yeah, end it with a bang.
This is a really good time for all of us as leaders, is to show that we have goodwill, that we know that the climate is shaky and we know that people are scared. And this broadcast is a part of that. It's a part of having that conversation, and all the things that we're all doing, is a part of it. And I think goodwill is important. And we all are givers, and givers grow. And so, this is a great opportunity, I think, for brands and companies to stand behind their values and show that to the people that are connected to them socially, especially during this time where people are looking for solutions. So I just want to say thank you. I can't wait to check out Natalia. I'm not really much on LinkedIn, so don't come find me there. Find me on Instagram or Facebook. And we'll be good.
We'll convert you.
And that's what I want to say. Just in close, I think that's what's been so cool about doing this today with you all, is because we do have Mark and Natalia. I know you two really dominate LinkedIn, and then also April. I think you dominate Facebook. It's one of these where I think it's been really cool to see different communities converge. It's been, we had 1,500 people watching live at one point. It's incredible. Yeah, incredible. So thank you very much for your time. Really, you all did not have to do this, and you all responded probably within an hour or so of me sending that message with an immediate yes. You didn't ask for anything, in return. You dedicated, full hour plus. And I know how much you all can charge individually for an hour worth of your time. So I'm very thankful, and I'm humbled, and I'm appreciative. So thank you very much. And I know everyone here is going to continue to support what you all are doing. So thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so everybody.
Thank you guys so much. This is awesome. Get out there and network.
Yeah.
Build your life. Get out there.
Look at this.
Killer opportunity.
Everybody, say goodbye to Mark. Say goodbye to Natalia. Say goodbye. Oh, I said, I was saying goodbye, but say goodbye. There she is. Say goodbye to Natalia. There you go. All right, guys. Thank you very much. I'm going to shout some folks out as we close. I got to go to LinkedIn. Make sure LinkedIn always gets love. My man Jabril Ahmed says thanks for all the lovely ladies being in the house. We've got Corey McGill said it was fun. Keisha Martin says, wow. Simon Baker says, thank you all. It was great. Leon Harris says, thanks. Christine Chen, what's up, Christine? Says, thank you very much. I want to shout everybody out on Facebook, on YouTube, and also definitely on Periscope. I'm going to keep doing these as, as April just said, like, you have to show goodwill. I have no objective with this. I literally just said, I feel like I need to do something during this time. I have a little bit of a platform. I know phenomenal people. That's the reason why I'm doing this. So I'm going to continue doing these 2 or 3 a week. And I appreciate your not only watching, but then also implementing whatever we're talking about so that your lives are better. Next session already I have scheduled. We're going to be talking about relationships in the time of coronavirus. So a lot of folks have been spending more time with their spouse than they've ever spent in their life. A lot of people are spending more time with their boyfriends and girlfriends than they ever have because they're in quarantine. A lot of people are separated from their spouse or separated from their boyfriend or girlfriend, or a lot of people are lonely and want to still continue to try to connect and build relationships, romantic relationships. The divorce rate is interesting in China is projected to go through the roof. The birth rate is now projected to go up because a lot of people are making babies, right? Relationships are going to change permanently as a result of the quarantine and coronavirus. So we're going to talk specifically about that in my next session. We have a wonderful guest. Her name is Dr. Wendy Walsh. She's a longtime friend. She is, I think, probably number one, number two expert in the world to talk about this. Time Magazine gave her Woman of the Year in 2017. She's phenomenal. I can't wait to speak with her. So Dr. Wendy Walsh coming up this coming Wednesday. I'll be coming to you live at the same time every time we do these sessions. So 4 p.m. here in London, 12 noon in New York, and most importantly in Kingston, Jamaica, 11 a.m. All right, guys. God bless. Have a phenomenal day. Remember, in this time of adversity that we are living in, there are seeds of opportunity out here, seeds of greatness. And I want you all to look at the opportunity, right? Don't fixate on the adversity, fixate on the opportunity, and I guarantee you're gonna come out much stronger. Love you all, and I will see you. Goodbye, everybody. My man, Ricardo. Peace, see you. April is already in the, April is the hardest working person now. She's already in the comments. Deandra, what's going on? Goodbye, my man, my lady, Erica, Carla, Keisha, Jabril, Simon. You guys have a phenomenal day. I'll see you on Wednesday, same time. Take care.